ladies and gentlemen, it is tea time. This one's a bit special, actually, this tea time, because I'm doing this live. And I'm going to be joined by quite a few people in the Twitch chat, and they're going to be talking about the new expansion that has been announced, Legion. It is very exciting stuff, I have to say. Lots of stuff to discuss, so I suggest we get to it. If next time you want to get involved in the discussion, then just follow twitch.tv/Tuskeh, and you can be involved in the discussion. And just as a note to the people in Twitch chat, who I will be speaking directly to, you're not on screen right now, so sorry about that. So, but yeah, I'll prove that I'm live. Look, here we are, right here. It should work, although maybe it won't, because I have the wrong thing working. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, you'll just have to take my word for it that I'm actually live. So what we're on right now is we're on the Legion website. Actually, this is MMO Champion. We also have the Legion website right here. This, by the way, is just amazing. It's just amazing. Like, just props to the Blizzard art team and the people who work on these websites, because I'm like, I should make a website. And then I make this little thing that's just like, Tuskeh, don't stand in the bed, then a video. And then I go over to this and I'm just like, it's just amazing. Okay, so let's discuss Legion. We're joined by quite a few people here, and we'll just go over some of the features and discuss our reactions to them. So first of all, the lore behind it all, the big stuff that gets us all started. Gul'dan, this is spoilers, obviously. If you didn't figure that out, then what are you even doing? So Gul'dan has been sent off during the battle at Hellfire Citadel. Once Archimonde was defeated, he was launched into the Dark Portal, Gul'dan was, and he landed on Azeroth, on our Azeroth. I'm not entirely sure how they managed to do that, maybe with the Dark Portal's power, but yes. So he was launched into Azeroth, and he started exploring. He found the Broken Isles, and I assume the Tomb of Sargeras, and he found a prison with Illidan's body in it. And that's all we know about the CGI trailer of it all. I need some tea. So, yes. And then he seems to go to the Tomb of Sargeras and open up a big-ass portal. And Legion invasion. The overall story seems to be that the Alliance and the Horde aren't going to be enough, and we are going to have to construct our own class orders in order to save the world. And these class orders will be focused on the latest and greatest item in the game. We'll just go down here. Artifact weapons. Now, these artifact weapons are going to be basically weapons of storied history in World of Warcraft, such as the Ashbringer. And Retribution Paladins will, in fact, get to wield the mighty sword and customize it, and all of these will be fully customizable. They'll offer kind of unique perks, like a talent tree, things like that, and it looks to be really good. It's probably going to be a replacement for the Legendary Questline, which I have to say, I am just thrilled about. I am so tired of the go and collect 20 tomes of power from this raid. It'll take you about 2.5 months. It was fun while it lasted, but I think it's gone now. I think the fun is gone. And this artifact weapon system seems to be awesome. So there'll be one artifact weapon for every spec. Some examples so far have been the Ashbringer, have been Shards of Frostmourne reforged into weapons for Frost Death Knights. You've got this Maw of the Damned Death Knight two-handed axe. I imagine it's going to be for blood, because it mentions for Eons, the demon known as Gorlix, the Flesh Ripper, used this massive axe to steal the life forces of his enemies and replenish his own. The Maw will bleed dry anything it touches, which suggests Blood Death Knight. Eating is all it knows. And we've got a few other things here. We've got Eben Chill, great stuff of Elodie, I imagine for Frost Mages. The staff of the first Guardian of Tirisfal. Sheluin, I think that's how you say it. Staff of the Mists for Mistweaver Monks. The staff of Xiao Hao, the Emperor of Pandaria. Thasdora, Legacy of the Windrunner, is going to be a bow that belonged to one of the Windrunner family. So that's Sylvanas, Illyria, Teresa? I want to say Teresa. I might be wrong. So let's have a look at this. So Mad Tavish says role players are going to cream themselves. Yeah, they are. This is going to be interesting for role players. It's like, I have Ashbringer. No, I have Ashbringer. No, I have Ashbringer. Serious roleplay guilds are going to be in trouble. Koala says he roleplays himself. Oh, Schmuck90Sizz says, in before every pally turns to Ret and running around with Ashbringers. That's going to be interesting, because Blizzard they've said over and over again, they really want to push the kind of, the class fantasy. You know, like, you are a Retribution Paladin. This is what you do. You glow with holy lights. You wield this awesome sword. And, yeah, there's going to be a lot of them. Also, hello, Schmuck. 99. We haven't really said hello yet, so hello. But yes, this is one thing about the artifact weapons is you can customize them. So you have like all these different versions of Ashbringer here. You can customize it into kind of a shattered version, kind of this enhanced version, and like a corrupted version. And you can get these by doing various things, all kinds of different things, completion stuff, raids, PvE, PvP, things like that. And you can also customize the colors as well. So it seems like there's a lot of ways to customize it and make it your own. Don't know how it's going to work with transmog. I'd assume you can transmog it because it wouldn't make much sense if you had to spend a whole expansion with a certain weapon. What if you don't like the Ashbringer? I'm certain there's someone out there that doesn't like the Ashbringer. They're insane, but it's their right to not like the Ashbringer. It's their right to want to use something else because there are some awesome two-handed weapons out there. What if they just don't want to use the Ashbringer? Heidi says I have the Ashbringer. That's impressive, I have to say. So, yes, this is going to be definitely interesting, the artifact weapon system. I like it. They haven't revealed all of them. A few cynics have been saying they're going to cut back and do one per class. I disagree. I really hope that they manage to get them all done. For the Elemental Shaman, because I'm an Elemental Shaman, they haven't revealed what it's going to be yet, as far as I know, but I would definitely like it to be a fragment of the World Pillar in Deepholm. That's going to be cool. Naylist says, hey, Tuskeh, nice to see you live. Hello. Hello. So many new people saying hello. Safe Grimmel says, well, they can roll arms or blood Death Knight. That's very true. This is actually kind of interesting. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with re-rolling, because myself personally in the guild that I'm in, I'm a swing player. So on one fight I'll be DPSing and then on another I'll be healing. And I have to know how to do both really well. I have to get the gear and enchants and be optimized for both roles. So it's going to be interesting to see how artifact weapons treat that. I mean, because they basically said you're going to have to do a lore-intensive storyline in order to get this weapon before you start, empowering it. So, for instance, for the Frost Death Knights, you're going to have to go to Icecrown Citadel or to Icecrown, find the Shards of Frostmourne and reforge them. Things like that. Also, they've confirmed the Enhancement Shaman one's going to be Doomhammer. Damn! I am so jealous of our Enhancement Shaman right now. I hope he quits so that I could be Enhancement and have Doomhammer. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Are we going to have to do that lore-intensive storyline? Or for our off-specs, are we just going to have to use other things? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But what else have we got here? I'm interested in how they will fix some specs. I'm definitely interested to see that. They haven't really talked about the other specs yet. What do you think they'll use for Fury Warriors and artifact weapons? I actually don't know. I don't have too many predictions about what they're going to be using. I definitely want to see them. I hope they announce them before everything comes out. But I haven't the foggiest. I'm just thinking... Gorehowl makes sense for Arms Warriors, right? I wish Warriors get Broxigar's Enchanted Axe from Cenarius himself. That's a cool idea. Although that is a two-handed weapon, so I don't know. I do not know in the slightest. But yes, that's artifact weapons. Definitely seems like a cool idea. One of the biggest features of the expansion. And it's going to kind of follow you throughout the whole expansion. You're going to be, empowering your weapon. I don't know how it's going to work item level-wise, if they're actually going to be a weapon that you wield, or it's going to be something like... This music just got really serious. Or if it's going to be something like a new slot, like an artifact slot or something. I just don't know. Koala says, I main a Fury Warrior. Well, what do you imagine, Koala? What do you want? What do you want as your artifact weapon? That's what I want to know. What do you guys want to see as your class and spec artifact weapons? Because I want a fragment of the World Pillar for the Shaman. I hear that Protection Warriors are going to get to go to the lair of Neltharion, who turned into Deathwing, and use, his scales to form a sword and shield. I think that's really cool. Mad Tavish says, I call it now, Varen Rin is going to die and Warriors will wield his swords. That would be cool. Also, I hope he dies. I'm not really big into Alliance. Sorry. Alright, so that's the first big announcement. Second one, of course, is the new class, the Demon Hunter. Next hero class, and damn, this looks cool, I have to say. So let's read this out. Dominate your foes as a Demon Hunter. An elven outcast shunned for daring to wield the terrible powers of the Legion. Immediately that confirms Night Elf and Blood Elf only. Interesting. Very interesting. They mentioned it's going to tie in, because you're going to basically, once you make a Demon Hunter, you're going to kind of go into the past, back to the Black Temple days, and Illidan's going to give you a task, like a suicide mission, and then you kind of go forward to the future after being captured or something like that. So it makes an awful lot of sense that you're a member of the Illidari. You can't be a troll Demon Hunter, which I'm personally disappointed about. But I will say that props to Blizzard for sticking to the lore and for saying, no, only the elves. That's what Demon Hunters have always been. That's just the way we're doing it. And I have to say, Illidan Stormrage is fucking awesome. And I really hope that they do these Demon Hunters justice. And from what I've seen so far, it looks like they do. So let's have a quick look at chat. So Schmuck says, hey Tuskeh, from what we've seen, what do you think about Demon Hunters will only be accessible for the elves? I just talked about that. I know it stays true to the lore, but do you think they'll keep it that way? That's interesting, because I really like the idea of, like, say this isn't the last expansion, and I really hope it's not, because it does seem like... I mean, it seems like the big Legion invasion is, like, the big bad ending of the World of Warcraft, but I don't know. It does seem like they've got more in them. So I hope it isn't the last one. I do like the idea of, once this is all over, if there are Demon Hunters who kind of sit back and say, well, we've saved the world, everyone loves us, but the Legion is still out there, maybe. We're still in danger. Let's start training other races to be Demon Hunters. I like the idea. I like the idea of them training other Demon Hunters after this one. So that's what I hope they do. But I think that sticking with elves right now is a good idea, because elves have always been the Demon Hunters, you know? There's never been any other Demon Hunter of any other race, as far as I know. There's never been any other Demon Hunter of any other race, so I'm glad they're sticking with that. Koala says, what do you think of the new honor system? We'll be getting onto that in just a moment, but I think it's a cool idea. Safe Grimmel says, well, I'm going to roll Demon Hunter, and I doubt we will get the Warglaives. I'd actually be interesting to see if they change the Warglaives of the Illidan fight in Burning Crusade to allow Demon Hunters to wield them, because that wouldn't make sense if they didn't do that. Maybe that'll be the artifact weapon for Demon Hunters. I'm curious about what will happen to Thrall, says the Fool Dude. That's interesting, because as I said, the Doomhammer is one of the artifact weapons for the Shaman, Enhancement Shaman, so I wonder what will happen to him. Will they kill him off? Don't know, people have been asking for it ever since Cataclysm, for some reason. Naylor says, Demon Hunter looks cool, but why another tank? This is actually interesting, because actually right now, the Demon Hunter has been revealed to have 2 specs. We've got Vengeance, which is this spec, I believe. Yes, this is the tank spec. And then you have, where is it? Havoc, which is the DPS spec. Those are the only 2 specs, right? Let's click on Learn More, shall we, and see what we get here. So here we go, the Demon Hunter. So they've got all this different stuff here. So they only have 2 specs, right? Havoc and Vengeance. Vengeance is the tank metamorphosis form, because it's all about transforming. Demon Hunter's all about that moment where you're like, now I am complete! And you sprout the wings, and you just go berserk. So one of them is Vengeance, that's going to be the tank. The other one is Havoc, that's going to be the DPS. Only 2 specs. They said they don't want to make a 3rd spec because healing Demon Hunter doesn't make any sense at all, and which I agree with entirely. And if they'd made 2 DPS specs or 2 tank specs, it would have watered down the other one. They want to put all of that coolness into the one spec. So I agree with this spec, personally. I personally think that having 2 specs is a good idea. A lot of people are going to be unhappy that there's going to be another tank. Hopefully it plays differently from the other specs, the other classes, because right now, from some of the abilities that they've shown, I wonder if I can find them on MMO Champion, because look at all this information we've got to go through. There's an awful lot of it. But when it comes to Demon Hunters, let me see if I can find it, because there was a definite thing I looked at. Here it is, right here. Okay, so here are a few of the... That's not the one. That's not the one I'm after. That was a different one. Is it this one? Nope, so it's this one. Okay, got it. All right, fine. Fantastic. So, here we have some of the abilities. So you've got Fell Rush, which makes you rush forward. It's kind of like a charge ability, but deals damage when you go through them. Chaos Strike is a big old attack, costs 40 Fury, so this Fury is going to be the Demon Hunter's resource bar. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of how that resource bar is going to work. It seems like it's going to play a lot like Guardian Druids and Protection Warriors. So hopefully they find a way to make it distinct. And a lot about kind of avoiding damage, being nimble, and things like that. Although Vengeance does seem to be pretty damn big. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Thank you for the link, Mad Tavish. I will have a look at that in just a bit. Although right now, chat is automatically deleting all links. Koala says, do you think Warglaives will be their own type of weapon? I think they will, personally. From what I saw... let me see if I can find this here. Is that they had a video about Demon Hunters. They showed some of their abilities, and from what it looks like, they have a lot of. It looks like I'll have to look through the live stream to find it, but it looks like they have a lot of unique animations, which makes a lot of sense, and yeah, I imagine that Warglaives will be their own thing. I definitely think Glaive will be a weapon type. Nelly says you have to go. Bye, Nelly's. Hope you enjoyed hanging around for a while. The Full Dude says, for the Demon Hunter tank, I would love an aura that puts a dot on you but gives, like, a diminishing return or something. So you need to manage the dot and the aura so you don't die. That's interesting. Although, What else would the aura do, the full dude, other than, like, put a dot on yourself? Oh, by DR you mean damage reduction, not diminishing returns. My mistake. This is why I always type everything out. But yes, that's a cool idea. I like the idea of managing debuffs on yourself, because the Demon Hunter's always been about, setting themselves on fire with their immolation aura and things like that. I'm sure we'll see something like that. But yeah, when it comes to the tank, I imagine that I imagine that there'll be a lot of ways of a lot of thematic ways of reducing damage. DPS, we don't know too much about that yet. It's probably going to be melee. Obviously, it's going to be melee with their double glaives jumping about and all that. And I cannot wait to try this out, I have to admit. As soon as the alpha or the beta comes out, and if I can get into it, I'm going to jump right in there. And that's going to be awesome. Okay, and here comes the big one. The big little change that Koala says. What do you think of double jump? Is it really necessary? Okay. Alright, so ever since they've started adding classes, Blizzard have always been of the idea that there has to be something unique to every class, which I completely agree with. Think about all the different classes that exist. Warrior, you've got their charge abilities. Monk, when they added that, they never added the Warrior, but it's just an idea. So let's go with Shaman, which again they didn't add. You've got Totems. Paladin, you've got Seals and their Bubble and their Lay on Hands. Let's go into the new classes. Death Knights, we had Death Grip. That was their big, this is what they do. They Death Grip people. And Monks, you had Rolling Around. And then Demon Hunters, you have Double Jump. That's right, literally Demon Hunters can double jump. Which is why they picked the Elves, because they have 2 different jumping animations. If you played an Elf, they have double jump animations. So, yeah, they're going to be able to double jump. That's pretty big. That's pretty big indeed. So, yeah. Personally, this is where it starts to lose me a bit. I don't really like the idea of double jumping. I mean, that's going to break the game, essentially. They are going to have to change so much. And you can probably, if you go to Silvermoon or anywhere in the Burning Crusade, you can probably double jump your way out of bounds really easily. I mean, people can do it now, but damn, they're just going to double jump all over the damn place. And Koala indeed says that Spectral Sight is the kind of ability I think will make a big impact, especially on PvP. I can imagine that. So Spectral Sight will go over here. Where is it? Spectral Sight, here it is right here. Allows you to see enemies through physical barriers, as well as those stealthed and invisible. So it's kind of like the Predator vision. Or if you play Dishonored, like the sight vision you get, you can just see enemies through walls and things like that. And this also lets you see who's stealthed and invisible. That is the kind of cool ability that I associate with Demon Hunters, not double jump. I would like to see Spectral Sight be the thing that they have, as opposed to double jump, although I can admit that Spectral Sight probably doesn't have too much value in raids or PvE. I am interested to see what they'll do with that double jump in raids. Will they ever have any kind of mechanic where it's like, you have to get up into this big platform, you have to do this really long jump, only a Demon Hunter can do it? Maybe Mythic only, like they've been doing with mind controls for like Mythic Blast Furnace. So yeah, personally I don't like double jump. I don't think it's necessary. I don't know if they really got this from WildStar or not, because WildStar really liked everyone had double jump, and I think that worked well, because everyone had it. They could design a world where everyone had double jump. But imagine, like, platforming in like, the Broken Isles. Will they have any moments where only a Demon Hunter can get to an area? I think that would really suck. Although it is important to note that maybe the Demon Hunter won't have, like, some kind of sprint ability, because almost every class has an ability that just increases their movement speed. Like, for instance, the Shaman have Ghost Wolf, Warriors have Heroic Leap, Rogues have Sprint, all kinds of stuff like that. Everyone has a way of increasing their own movement speed in some kind of way. Maybe the Demon Hunter won't have that kind of ability, so it'll kind of balance itself out. I don't know. Let's have a look, so. Also, I hope you're enjoying your tea. If you're not drinking tea, shame on you. Shame on you. So, let's have a look. Mad Tavish says it will give really nice flavour. It's not like you're going to jump out of the arena or something. Yeah, seriously. I don't think WoW was designed for double jump. Let's see. I agree something like Immolation Self-Dot would be cool as hell. I definitely agree with that. Spectral Strike is the kind of ability I think will make a big impact, definitely. I was thinking about a dot that starts small and grows as it gives you more benefits. So you can just heal it at the start, but at some point you need to deactivate the aura. That's interesting, because Brewmaster Monks have definitely been a spec with really high kind of... a really high skill ceiling. It's really easy to screw up being a Brewmaster Monk. I like the idea of a Demon Hunter that if they screw up while tanking, they just kill themselves. Like, the boss comes in, gets them to like 2% health with a big old melee hit, and then it's like, oh, I have my Immolation Aura up. and they just die. I think that would be really cool. That would add an extra layer of complexity to tanking. So let's see. Yeah, Mad Tavish definitely says, rogues equals demon hunter food. Yeah. I mean, it makes an awful lot of sense in terms of the lore, but holy hell, rogues are going to be terrified of demon hunters. It's like, I'm going to go over here, and they just turn. Oh, hi. Yeah. It's going to be hilarious. It really is. They're really going to mix things up. I like classes that mix things up. But yeah, Blizzard have been known for getting a bit too excited with new classes. I'm sure we'll see them get really good representation in raids and battlegrounds and stuff and in arenas, and then, like... Can you imagine going up against 2 demon hunters in an arena? That's going to be horrible. But then they'll probably get toned down eventually. Mad Tavish says, it depends on how much health demon hunters will have. If they have any sort of absorb, and if the encounter design and PvE tank meta will prefer absorbs, or if they will have mitigation, avoidance, or absorb tanking, demon hunters really need to have a fly ability with their demon wing spell metamorphosed. Metamorphosized? I don't know. That would be cool, yeah? Like in Heroes of the Storm, when you go full metamorphosis with Illidan at level 20, you could just mount up by flapping your wings and flying off. That's cool. I've seen that gliding might be a thing, says Safe Grimmel. That might be kind of cool. I like that idea. Koala QW says maybe the Demon Hunter will have the spec mission for its artifact weapon, and there it will most likely be required to double jump a couple times. Yeah, I can understand having like double jump in Demon Hunter only things, like in their starting experience and for your artifact weapon. That would be cool. But my problem is out in the world, like if they're like a jumping puzzle, because they've started doing that with Warlords of Draenor, and to a lesser extent the Timeless Island, Mists of Pandaria, where there's a lot of platforming, and I like platforming in MMOs. It can be quite fun if they do it right, which they have been doing right. But Demon Hunters will probably trivialize it, and so if they try and make Demon Hunter only ones, what about the rest of us? And they haven't really announced anything for any of the other classes yet, so I don't really know. I really don't know. So let's see what else we've got here. Mad Tavish says, I think they should rename the rogue ability Preparation to Not Prepared. Indeed. Rogues are going to be very angry. If you play a rogue, I'm sorry. I really am. Although it will be interesting to see what they're going to add to the new classes. What they're going to add new for current classes. Maybe rogues will get like an improved stealth. Like when they vanish, Demon Hunters won't be able to see them. Maybe that kind of improved stealth will make its way into the rogue gameplay, so that Demon Hunters don't have the jump on them all the time. Although it does seem like Spectral Sight has a cooldown, because if we look here, it has a 2-minute cooldown. We don't know how long it's going to last. So, yeah, Mad Tavish is right when they say it's not like warriors don't already defy gravity with their heroic leap. If you play rogue, you deserve no mercy. That's a bit cruel, Mad Tavish. Koala QW says, what level do you think Demon Hunters will start off at? 100. I have no doubt in my mind that they'll start off as 100. Blizzard really made a mistake, and I'm pretty sure they admit this when they made the last hero class, the Death Knights, and they went through this experience where it's like, here is the Wrath of the Lich King, starting off with this story, all this stuff that happens at Akeros and Light's Hope in the Eastern Plaguelands, and then go to Outland. It didn't work. It just didn't work. I would be surprised if they didn't start off at 100, because this is the Legion invasion, right? This is the end of the world, so they're gonna have to like get in almost instantly. And it's not like you play like a class that you're not playing a character that's like really weak and starting to learn things. You're playing an elite, right? I'm just gonna cross my legs because you're uncomfortable. Yeah, it's not like you're playing like a class that needs to like start learning how they do things. You're an elite member of the Illidari. Like starting, that's just flat out. You're an elite member of the Illidari. Now you need to like go and do things. Like go and do things. Don't just like train and go back in time to the Iron Horde. No, get in there. Get stuck in. So yeah, I'd be surprised if they don't start at level 100. Rufus says, Koala, I saw an interview post that says they haven't decided, but maybe 95 to 100. Okay, that makes sense. Or I imagine you need a class at level 100 already to unlock the Demon Hunter. Although, one thing, if we scroll down here, it has been confirmed character boost. Immediately raise one character to level 100. They're going to be keeping up that. So when you get the expansion, you will be able to get your character up to level 100. So that's good. I'm okay with that. Rufus says, I agree. They need to get their intro story, and then get right into fighting the Legion. I agree. It wouldn't make sense for a Demon Hunter to be like, I am here to hunt demons and fight the Legion. Let me just go level through Talador quickly. That doesn't make sense to me. Mad Temperature's Demon Hunter starting at 95 or 98 or near 100 will make sense, but it will make the level 90 boost a bit obsolete. I imagine they'll remove the level 90 boost. I think they'll just keep the boost to be a one expansion behind the current expansion. If they ever go up to like boost to level 110 while 110 is still the cap, that would be insane. Although they did do that with Mr. Pandarius, and I was not very happy with that. It screwed up LFR, really did. Rufus says, it would be really dumb for us to call the Demon Hunters for help, only to have them fight the Lich King, Deathwing, Shah, or the Iron Horde. Exactly. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, Demon Hunter equals second hero class, definitely. And I definitely think they're going to do a better job than they did with the Death Knights. They're probably going to be overpowered as hell, because Blizzard have a habit of making it really cool, and then not scaling it back as much as they should. I'd be surprised if they were balanced. But I don't really have a problem with that personally. I'm sure they'll have their niche and other classes will still be important. But yeah, there's going to be lots of complaining. There's always complaining. Alright. Mitch, V57, by the way, hello Mitch, says, another character boost? Only classes I haven't maxed yet are Druid and Rogue. Shall I flip a coin? Well, I mean, you can probably buy the second one as well. Because you can buy the level 90 character boost now. So I imagine that... I imagine that you'll be able to buy it, just like you can the level 90 boost now. But I'm a big fan of leveling up as opposed to buying your way up, because leveling up is unique. And when I was doing my monk series, and my monk is still alive, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe I'll do it live at some point. That might be fun. That might be a lot of fun, actually. Let me know what you guys would think of just hanging out sometime and just leveling the monk, having a chat, and just being cool together. So yeah. Schmuck says they'll likely be extremely overpowered like Death Knights were in Wrath. Absolutely. That would not be a surprise to me. But I also think they won't be able to do everything. They especially can't heal, much like Death Knights can't heal. So I think that the other classes will still be important. And like I said, we haven't learned anything new with the new classes of the current classes. I'd like to see some new stuff. I really would, but I would be surprised if Demon Hunters overtake everything. Blizzard are smart. They won't let Demon Hunters be the only DPS and the only tanks. They'll keep up the class fantasy. They'll obviously want to keep up the class fantasy because, let's move on now, I think. We've talked about Demon Hunters for a while. Let's talk about, where is it? It's here somewhere. It's one of the big features. It's not here. Okay, we'll go to MMO Champion. That'll have it. We will have class orders. Now, where is it? Here it is. So, let's just go over this. Before we do that, I'm just going to finish looking at the chat. Safe Grimmel says, Illidan went on a hell of a recruitment drive, and this prison is going to be massive. Yeah, there's a great moment in Mr. Pandaria where it's like the introduction, right, for the Alliance, when you go in, and he's like, they found my son, I've lost my son, where is he? He's stranded on an uncharted island. The 7th Fleet will be there in a few months, but there's no time for that. And he says, we'll send a small elite force to secure this new land. And every time I hear it, I just think of him saying, we'll send a small elite force of 10 million subscribers to secure this land. I just find that funny. But yeah, there's going to be tons of Demon Hunters on day one. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Got to be an incentive to play it. Absolutely. Yeah, Mitch is right. There's got to be an incentive to play it. Despite the fact that Demon Hunters are really fucking cool. But yeah. Alright, so let's talk about order halls next. Class orders. Okay, Rufus says, okay, I'm getting distracted. Oh, thank you, Mighty Blizzard. I have been telling my friends that classes need to make them feel like their respective class, kind of like Warlock Green Fire Quest. Exactly. This is about the class orders and the order halls. So, what this is it's essentially a garrison, but for your class. So everyone of your class will be in this garrison. It won't just be you. So it won't be phased to just you. It'll be phased to your class. And it will be in a specific place for your class. So, for instance, Paladins will be underneath Light's Hope Chapel in the Eastern Plaguelands. They'll be doing stuff down there. The Shaman one will be at the Maelstrom, where you kill Deathwing, in like a cave where all the elemental forces are like banding together, and you've got churning fire and earth and lightning strikes and raging whirlpools. Sounds really cool. Death Knights will probably be in Akeris again. They'll probably do some stuff with Akeris, the Ebenhold. Akeris, whatever. Warlocks will actually be on a Rufus, you might like this. Warlocks will be on a portal world, a Legion portal world. They're just going to go to a different planet and be like, yeah, we're hanging out here, surrounded by fell fire and demons raining from the sky, because we're Warlocks. Yo, what's up? Yeah. All right, Mad Tavish says, prediction, this order and artifact thingy will hold up for 1 or 2 months before falling into repetition or grinding, and I fear Blizzard will use this as a crutch for endgame PvE instead of giving us fleshed out reputations with progressive dailies and storylines. That is a very valid concern, because one of the major failings of Warlords of Draenor, in my opinion, was the garrison system. It's really cool, like, the garrison system is cool. However, it just offered too much reward for sitting in your garrison doing nothing. Your followers would go off and do their thing, and they would bring back rewards for you without you having to do anything other than click and then send them off. You would just put reagents into your garrison buildings, and they would come back, and you would have like crafting materials, and there was nothing to do outside of the world. I would be surprised if Blizzard makes exactly the same mistake again. And yeah. I'm worried, I have to admit, but I would like to. I like this idea of it like being a little bit of a hub for your class order. Maybe you. Okay, this is what I want to see, because they've also announced that Dalaran will be in the new kind of zone, the Broken Isles, which is like the broken remnants of Suramar, which is where an elven city where Tyrande, Illidan, and Malfurion were born. But yeah, I imagine that they've announced that Dalaran will be like the main city hub, which is cool as hell, by the way. Dalaran is awesome. I love Dalaran. So that will be like the main hub where you'll go to the auction house and, you'll do your professions and stuff like that, and you'll go to trade chat and stuff. And then I imagine like the class order will be like a place that you go to like to level up your artifact weapon. They've said that you'll level up your artifact weapon in your class order to like get quests to like go and do things in the world. Maybe like you can get daily quests from there. Maybe that's where like training dummies will be located and stuff like that. And I don't know. I definitely will have to see. But I hope they don't make it so that you can stay in your class hall and do everything there. That would be a mistake in my opinion, because if they made it like, oh, here's the Paladin auction house, and you can access the auction house from Auctioneer the Blessed, and here is the Paladin training dummies, and here is the Paladin jewel crafting. It's I am Gem Crafter Liadrin or something. That wouldn't make sense. But if they did that, you just stay in your class order hall and never go to Dalaran, which is that would be a terrible mistake in my opinion. And I'm sure Blizzard will get called out on it during the alpha and the beta if they do that. But it seems like they'll have a lot of stuff to do in the world. I really hope there's a lot of endgame stuff to do in the world. I really hope that. So I'm a bit backed up in terms of chat, so let's go over that now. Mitch says, I main a Paladin, and the Paladin Hall seems like the least cool one announced so far. And Rufus agrees and says, so many other interesting places Paladins could set up. Cough, Sunwell, cough. This is actually something interesting. It seems like they're trying to avoid faction-specific stuff, because it seems like in the lore, the factions have failed. Right? The Alliance and the Horde are at each other's throats. I mean, it says it right here. The Alliance and the Horde are at each other's throats, so classes will have to band together to fight the Burning Legion. Like, the Alliance and the Horde had kind of screwed up. And so it's going to be much less about the faction, and which is why I think they're going to kind of avoid things like the Sunwell. And Orgrimmar would make sense for a warrior class order, right? Because it's the city of warriors. But they probably won't do that because it's a faction hub at the same time. And Sunwell is very Blood Elfy, which is very Horde, so I don't know. Maybe. That's just my opinion on it. Let's see. Safe Grimmel says, I would think monks and druids would be fairly obvious where they go. Yeah, monks already have the Peak of Serenity, and druids have Moonglade, obviously. Safe Grimmel says, bring me back raid gear. Yeah, that is a mistake in my opinion. Them being able to do that. Followers being able to bring you back raid gear. Schmuck says, as a Blood Elf Paladin, the Hall disappoints me. Give me my mini Sunwell. The Sunwell is obviously a big place, and it's huge in the lore. But yeah, Mad Tavish as well, talk about Sunwalkers. Freaking Sun Cow Warriors hang out with armored priests and stuck-up pretty elves underground. Alright, I will concede your point there. Yeah. I mean, it would be cool if they could have, like, a sunwalking specific area, like in underground. That would be kind of cool. But I imagine they won't do that. Hopefully they will. Maybe they'll have, like, a little themed area inside Light's Hope Chapel. Rufus says, lol, yep. I mean, it makes sense from a lore perspective, but it doesn't have the wow factor that Warlocks or Shaman have. I agree with that. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. This is a very subjective thing, I think, because I'm sure lots of people think, oh, Light's Hope Chapel, loads of interesting lores happen there, because it has. And I'm sure there's going to be interesting stuff happening there, but some people will love it. But it is very Silver Hand, right? I mean, it is the Silver Hand. That's the name of the class order. So it's going to be kind of human-y and dwarfy in a way. Mostly human-y. So, yeah, a bit of a shame, but it's good that they're sticking to these class-oriented things as opposed to, like, working with, like, Alliance and Horde stuff. Because, again, it seems like they're actually moving away from that a little bit, which is cool. And one note, I'd like to see Alliance and Horde players be able to talk to one another while in their class order halls, because that would actually make sense. I don't know how that would work, but it would be cool as hell. It really would be cool as hell, especially for role players. Can you imagine, like, having like a guild or like a community that's like a Silver Hand community of paladin role players, and like you can have Sunwalkers and human paladins, dwarven paladins, blood elf paladins talking to one another, role playing with one another inside the class hall? Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, let's move on with other stuff. Rogues will probably end up in Ravenholt, says Rufus. I agree with that. Ravenholt Manor makes sense. All of these places will probably have to get overhauled and have to look different. They'll probably build on it as opposed to making them completely unique, but as opposed to like completely overhauling them, they'll all probably be unique. Mad Terror says, you know what I'm looking forward to in Dalaran? Citizens of Dalaran, raise your eyes to the skies and observe. My glasses are fogged up now. Damn it, Mad Tavish does not compute. No. Yeah. There'll probably be a reference in there somewhere. Every time my husband heard that, he would say, damn it, Khadgar, you're dead. Was it Khadgar that said that? No, it was Ronan. It was Ronan that said that. He'd say, damn it, Ronan, you're dead. Stop saying things. Alright. So, Mitch says, one thing that surprises me is that there were no new races announced. 2 expansions in a row with no new races. This is very true. That's a very good point. I have no idea what the next race will be, but maybe they'll start like announcing it. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a new race introduced in like a patch, right? Like a patch that introduces, like, say, Naga or Murlocs. No, I'm joking. Damn Murlocs. Yeah. But yeah, like a patch that introduces a new race that you can play as. That would be cool. That would be something unexpected and cool. Alright, so Rufus says, maybe we'll see, maybe we'll get Sunwalker and Blood Knight areas specifically in the chapel. Decent compromise. Yes, absolutely. I agree. And you'll probably see that in all over the place, like different themed areas and stuff like that, to kind of build, you know, like kind of say, oh, this is where I go, you know, things like that. Mad Tavish says, new races, I'd rather have race variations. High Elves, Tonka, Brown Orcs, etc., etc. I would agree with that. I think there's enough lore now that you can start building sub-races like Mag'har Orcs and Grim Totem and Zandalari Trolls or different tribes of trolls, things like that. I would love to see new customization options for the races, because despite the fact that they've updated the models, there just needs to be more variation. Damn it, I spilled my tea. Oh, god damn it. I'm okay. What I get for flinging my tea around as I'm talking. Safe Grimmel says, what about the Blood Elf and Dwarf following you in Eastern Plaguelands? They've talked to each other. That's a good point. Yeah, Tayranar's son, not Sunstrider, son something, and Gidwin Goldbraids. They did talk to each other, absolutely. They'll probably be there. I'd be surprised if they weren't. Rufus says, I'm guessing each order hall will have a portal to and from Dalaran, and they will be phased from the rest of the world. That's probably going to be the case. There'll probably be a loading screen unique, just like the Garrison loading screen, things like that. I like that idea of being able to go from one to the other quite easily. It's a good idea. Mad Tavish says, rest in peace, Ronin. No. Murloc Race OP. Yeah. Mitch says, Arakoa seemed like they would have been easy to do in Walls of Draenor. I'm on the fence about that. I kind of am. I really like the Arakoa, but as a playable race, I don't know. Maybe. I haven't really got a strong opinion either way. Rufus says, I agree with Mad Tavish. I'd wager Blizzard is working on that instead of making all new races. And when he says that, he means race variations. Yes, I would agree. Yeah, I do hope that they... I hope they make race variations. That would definitely be cool. So we kind of gone off tangent here. Let's talk about dungeons and raids next. So we've talked about class orders a little bit, and talked about our worries about them. Let's talk about dungeons and raids now. When the fellows, I forget their names because they have weird names and I forget them. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I love them, but I'm sorry. When they went up there, they basically flat out said, dungeons are essential to the MMO experience, and we want to make sure that there are more dungeons, more challenges, and more replayability in them. They basically said, we screwed up in Warlords of Draenor with dungeons. They said they didn't do them justice, and I agree, they didn't. The problem with dungeons in Warlords of Draenor, it was that It was something you did right at the beginning of the expansions. Ian Hazakostas? Yes, Rufus, I believe you're right. I believe it was Ian Hazakostas that said that. One of them was Ian Hazakostas. Yeah, I swear I'm not drunk. I've never drunk a single drop of alcohol in my life, and sometimes I sound like I'm, like, smashed. But anyway, so yes, the main mistake with Warlords of Draenor dungeons was that there's something you did to gear up once you started off in the expansion the first couple of months, and then they just kind of stopped existing. It's yeah, you just didn't need to do them. Once you got into raids, they were pointless, and Mythic dungeons did something to start alleviating that, but they just came in too late. Because it was like, okay, you've got these Mythic dungeons, but you can gear up and get into Hellfire Citadel using Tunan, and then gear up from there if you want to. And I admit I haven't done a Mythic dungeon. I haven't. I've never felt the need to. Because I talked about this when I did PTR videos for them. They needed new mechanics. You can't make a Mythic dungeon. I'm just going to say this, right? Normal mode was fine. Heroic mode, as a kind of it hits a bit harder, you have to think about mechanics a bit more, is fine when it comes to dungeons. And then Mythic cannot be everything hits really hard and that's it. You need new mechanics. You need to spice things up, because you've got to remember that these players have done normal and they've done heroic. And for most of them, Mythic's going to be just heroic, but they have to pay a little bit more attention. That's not fun, right? They've already done these mechanics to death. You need to spice it up. You need to add in waves of fire. You need to add in an extra phase. You need to add in something that changes the fight. It needs to be different, even in a minor way, because otherwise it's just going to be exactly the same. And I think the Mythic dungeons were a little bit kind of crowbarred into the end of Warlords of Draenor. It's probably something they would have liked to have announced for Legion, but yeah, they need new mechanics. They just do, in my opinion. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Yeah. Mad Tavish says, it would be cool to see different dungeon paths, like in Guild Wars 2, for example, in Challenge or Mythic modes. I disagree with Challenge modes requiring, like, different paths, because that kind of takes away the idea of, this is the path, do it fast, and, like, optimize it. But for Mythic and other modes, I agree entirely. I love the idea of, like, a city. Like, one of the dungeons is kind of a city. I'm trying to find it here. Suramar City, here we go. Suramar City is the city of night, where the Nightborn rule from their planets. The city contains catacombs beneath it and noble houses throughout the city, both of which you will venture into to discover ties to the Legion and the ultimate plan that is unfolding. I like the idea of, going different directions through the catacombs and through the city. That's really cool. I mean, if they make that linear, that would be a huge shame, because it's a city. But, yeah, I like the idea of different dungeon paths, but not for challenge mode. Oh yeah, save Grimmel, but you got 50 garrison resources. Woo. Rufus says, advice for Blizzard. Let players run dungeons for the new resource artifact power to level up their artifact weapons. You are right on the ball there. Absolutely. Even if it's just a little bit, just more incentive to do the dungeons, right? They need to drop gear that is relevant throughout most of the expansion, at least. There needs to be good incentives to go there beyond just that as well. And when you start out gearing them, you should still want to do them, Those are the three big things. Okay. So Mitch says, I mean, there are already more dungeons announced in Legion than there were in WoD, but is 9 enough? I'd be very satisfied with 12. The 8 in Warlords of Draenor got old very quickly. I agree. I think that the fact that we only had, 3, 4 at the max level that were new was a bit of a shame. There just wasn't enough variety, Is 9 enough? No. I'm just going to say that. I don't think it's enough. I think that... Yeah, I don't think it's... No. Yeah, I don't think 9 is enough. I think 10 would be good. 12 would be amazing, but you've also got to remember that these dungeons are very difficult to make. Think of all the artwork that goes into them. They're all unique, right? Unique art, unique animations. Not so much unique animations. Yeah, well, I suppose you can argue unique animations in, the environment, unique story that links in with the world, unique mechanics, most of the time anyway. So they're difficult to make. I think 12 would be amazing, 10 would be okay, and this is something that I don't understand from Blizzard. Why have they stopped adding dungeons in with patches? They added new scenarios in for Mists of Pandaria, but everyone basically agreed that scenarios were a bit meh. But, I mean, think of the Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. They added in the 3 Ice Crown Citadel dungeons when they added the Ice Crown Citadel patch. They added in the Trial of the Crusader the Trial of the Champion, sorry, when they did the Argent tournament. Why? Why have they stopped doing that? I really like that. I mean, I understand it was because they made them more difficult, and that kind of made the old dungeons pointless. But you could just... If you can find a decent incentive for everyone to do dungeons, even if they outgear them, then adding new dungeons is just a good idea, even if they offer better gear. Because that still won't make the old dungeons obsolete, because there'll still be a reason to do it other than just the items. But I personally would love to see new dungeons with patches. Alright, so let's get back to the chat before it escapes me. Rufus says, we need the first 9, and then we need something a la Ice Crown Patch with the 3 dungeons released with ICC, or Troll Dungeons and Cat. Exactly, just what I said, exactly. I agree entirely. 9 is a good start if you're going to add in more. If you're not going to add in more, then it might be a little bit too few. But if you add in more, fantastic. I'm all over that. Mad Tavish says, I also wish we got rid of LFR and normal mode for raiding and instead got 3 difficulties. Story mode, heroic, mythic. Story mode would be in between LFR and normal, and you would be able to both manually create a group and queue into it, based on your eye-level achievements around language, etc. Heroic would be standard, mythic would be hardcore. That's a kind of cool idea. I like the idea of calling looking for raid story mode, but I don't think looking for raid's going to go anywhere. I will say this, though. I've done, 2 looking for raids throughout Warlords of Draenor, so I like how much they kind of said you don't really need to do it. If you're a raider, you don't need to do LFR, which I'm happy about. I think I did the Hellfire Assault on LFR because the tome was bugged on heroic and it wouldn't give it to you, but there was a rumor around that, so everyone just said, we know it drops in LFR before the raid tonight, just jump in and do the first boss. So that's I done that, and then I did High Maul in LFR. I had the first wing, I think, just for the guide that I ended up not finishing. But, yeah. I like that you don't have to do LFR and you can go into it if you want to. So I can't really comment on how difficult it is. I mean, I think people are wiping in the Hellfire Citadel, which is good. Wiping is a part of raiding, although I wouldn't generally classify LFR as raiding. This is going to be really cold now. Still warm enough to be good. Good. So I don't know if I entirely agree with getting rid of LFR. I don't think it's going anywhere. Although I like the idea of calling it story mode, just to see the lore. That's a good idea. Matt Terry says, also add to story mode, you would have forced rules for the group leader to prevent shit. Like item level requirements, aka carry me, or master looter or reserve ninja looting. I agree with that entirely, yeah. My nose is a bit blocked, so I might have to blow my nose in a minute. I'm going to do that now, actually. I will be right back, 10 seconds. So, I'm also going to mute my mic, because this is going to be horrible. So, I will be right back. Hi. Sorry about that. I completely forgot to unmute myself. We're here. Hello. I'm good at streaming. Can you tell this is my second ever stream? Sorry. Think of a punishment for me, and I will do it. Yes, I know my mic is muted. I looked, Mad Tavish. I saw you spreading word of the stream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So yeah, think of a punishment and I'll do it. I'm sorry. I am ashamed. Let's get back to the conversation. Okay. So I feel Safe Grimble says I feel sorry for my followers when I'm in Dalaran. He's coming back, right? The garrison's empty, guys. Yeah. Mad Tavish says more like you're volunteering to lead a group and maybe have some control over who you accept from those people who pop the queue. I kind of like that idea, although it would be very difficult to balance, I imagine. Rufus says, perhaps Blizzard had a lot of people who did Dungeons and WoW working on other projects, hence the drop in the number of dungeons. Now that Blizz has more people working on WoW than ever before, in air quotes, maybe we'll get more dungeons, and a lot of people seem to want. Yeah, I hope so. As someone who doesn't really have a raiding guild or any friends who raid seriously, I still do enjoy LFR to at least see content. That's good. I'm glad to see that people, at least someone, is enjoying LFR. Just for being able to see the content. Personally, I like to get into the more harder challenges, but that's got its own downsides. It really does. It's difficult as hell. But yeah. Yes, fantastic. Yeah, it's good to see that LFR's doing well, at least to some degree. Rufus says, I wiped an LFR Hellfire, but only because someone pulled 3 groups of trash mobs that were not prepared for. See what I did there? I see what you did there. Yeah. It's just basic things in LFR mostly. I can't really comment on the balance of LFR right now, and whether or not it needs to be more difficult or less difficult. But, yeah. I don't know about that, because I haven't done it. But, If people are enjoying it and it's not stupid hard, and I think that Siege of Orgrimmar LFR was too difficult, which is weird. Especially, like, Garrosh himself was really difficult for LFR. But, I don't know, there's a balance there somewhere. Mad Tavish says, I too don't have a raiding guild, but LFR is bearable only once. Doing it every week for the legendary questline and the loot makes it really boring. That's an interesting point. What's going to happen to LFR with artifact weapons? Like, I have no idea. Yeah, I just don't know. Okay. Rufus says, yeah, I've burned out on WoW after just going hard on my rogue for a few weeks. Now I'm just back to speed leveling. I can understand that entirely. The problem with LFR is that it's got a really low skill ceiling. Like, there's only so much you can do with it. Whereas if you're in a raiding team, you know, you can work on things like ranks, you can work on getting better every week. You've got the group every week, you know, of people that you become friends with and that you talk to, things like that. And you're, you know, things like that, as opposed to just, like, doing pugs constantly. I'm not a big fan of pugs in almost any regard. But I understand that they're necessary for all MMOs. Yes, Rufus says we need a "you are dismissed" event before the pre-expansion patch. Yeah, you need to say goodbye to all your followers. Yeah. Although it seems like there's going to be the pre-expansion patch, by the way, for Legion is going to be amazing from what I can hear. It's some kind of... I'm not entirely sure how to say it. I mean, it seems like the Legion's going to invade and win, which I don't understand. It's going to be nasty. But I personally loved the Scourge invasion and the Cataclysm upheaval where the elements attacked the major cities. That was awesome. I want more of that. So hopefully the pre-patch will be awesome. Alright, so Athey, who I haven't seen yet, hello Athey, says, I think LFR should be made into tourist mode. A lot of people already call it that, depending on, you know, what their opinion is. Where you can queue up with two friends, like mist scenarios, and do the raid, possibly in wings, and at the end receive some heroic dungeon loot. If you compare that to a heroic dungeon, which will be the new way to gear up for normal, by the way, a dungeon will give you more loot for less time spent. Effectively removing LFR from the gearing up process path. LFR would not give legendary quest progress. It is solely there for people to see the story. See, now... Are you suggesting that these raids should be done with, like, 2 or 3 people? I would disagree with that, because a lot of the way raids are designed is they're designed for lots of people. I mean, 2 to 3 people just wouldn't be able to do mechanics that happen in raids, even if those mechanics barely hurt. Yes, you've got my raid gear now, go away. Especially you, Millhouse. Healer he, hello Healer he, says, Siege of Orgrimmar LFR was only hard because people made it hard by refusing to do mechanics. This is the thing with LFR. People don't want to do mechanics in LFR because they believe it's tourist mode. If you put in some effort, Siege of Orgrimmar wasn't that difficult on LFR. Siege of Orgrimmar wasn't that difficult on Flex or even normal. You just had to do the mechanics and understand them while doing your DPS and healing and tanking at the same time. That was really it. But people make it hard because they think, it's LFR, I don't have to do any mechanics, la 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 la, just DPSing, standing and everything. Oh, I died. What happened? I don't understand that mentality. I just don't. Mad Tavish says, all I want from the 7.0 pre-patch is big fell bombs dropped on my garrison, burning it to ashes. It says an awful lot about the garrison system that people are saying, I want it destroyed. Burn it to the ground. Yeah. Rufus says, pre-expansion patch is going to be shocking. I have a feeling we're going to see Azeroth get owned, major characters dead, or have their resolve destroyed. Going to be so cool. We'll finally have a chance to be a real hero and not rely on lore characters. Yes. I want that. That would be really cool. That would just be amazing. Warlords of Draenor did a good job, I think. The questing experience of Warlords of Draenor, by the way, was amazing. But they did a good job of showing, you are commander, you are in charge. But there's still some people who are like your level or above. I'd like to see that change. Yeah, I'd like to see us go even further. Looking at you, Thrall, and you kill-stealing Garrosh from us. Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. I did want to kill Garrosh. Although, one of the raids has been announced. We get to kill Gul'dan. Yes! Finally! That bastard deserves to die. So let's discuss some of the dungeons. We've talked about kind of a few different things so far, but let's just talk about the different dungeons so far. So you've got the Halls of Valor. There's going to be a lot of Vrykals. A lot of Vrykal themes. I don't know if they're the same race. They're apparently some kind of missing link, that's what I'm getting from it, between Vrykal and humans, maybe? Or some kind of group that aren't slaves to the Lich King, which is cool. So this first one is the Halls of Valor dungeon, and yes, that cinematic was awesome, Rufus, I agree. So Halls of Valor, this is located high up in the clouds above Stormheim, which is one of the new zones. It's a level up dungeon. The art and feeling of the dungeon was heavily inspired by Valhalla. Let's actually just copy and paste MMO Champion and get some pictures going, shall we? Yes. Let me find these dungeons, because I will say the Halls of Valor look nothing short of amazing. Where are you? Why do you not have pictures? They're here somewhere, I know. I will find it. Here it is. Here we go. So this is the Halls of Valor. It looks amazing, I have to say. I have to really say. I mean, this just looks amazing. I'm blown away by how gorgeous this looks. So let's talk about what this is. So this is... Yes, here we go. So this is where the greatest warriors of the Reichel, because the Reichel are a warrior race, are called to serve. It's their eternal reward for being the best warriors. It's kind of like, what's the name? Valhalla? Yes, Valhalla. They're heavily inspired by Valhalla, you know, the Norse kind of heaven where you go if you're a fantastic warrior. And Athey says it looks like the high heavens from Diablo, which is very pretty. Absolutely. I love that kind of little bit of crossover there, just in the design. I like that. You're seeking out the Pillars of Creation. So the Pillars of Creation are, I believe, they are what the Titans use to make Azeroth, and we need their power in some way to, like, close the portal that the Legion are using to swarm our world with demons. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but we're after those. So one of them is in Stormheim. Yes, and it's in the Halls of Valor. So you have to go there, and you're contending with the Legion, who are cooperating with the leader of the Reichel, the God King. I don't know who that is. I imagine we'll be seeing Tyr, the Watcher, there. As you race against the God King through the zone, both of your paths lead you to this dungeon, which is the location of the pillar. You must prove yourself worthy in battle so that you can claim it. We also learn a bit more about the origin of the Valkyr. There aren't any undead Valkyr from Northrend. These are pure warriors of the light. And this is where an interesting little thing happens. So, you know who would have an interest in the Valkyr? Because I do. This person would have an interest in the Valkyr. I'm interested why she is on the Legion page. Think about that. The Forsaken's ruthless leader is a formidable champion of her people. But with the Burning Legion invasion, the stakes for the Dark Lady have never been higher. Should Sylvanas perish, I can't talk, her demise will be the beginning of her internal damnation. All that stands between her and this doom are her Valkyr. Yet few of these spirit guardians remain. As her fate edges closer to the abyss, Sylvanas must decide how far she'll go to protect her people, and whether they're more precious to her than her soul. Damn. Interesting, eh? Alright. So, that could be interesting. Let me just catch up with chat. Alright. Mad Tavish says, okay, Blizzard really need to start busting their asses and integrate boss mods into standard UI along with pretty telegraphs and timers. I agree. Boss mods are getting a bit ridiculous now. This along with cleaning up... no, I'm losing you. Okay. This, along with cleaning up the convoluted dungeon journal ability pages, would remove all excuses from those lazies that refuse to look up the mechanics. Add that, and you can remake LFR to be harder. I can understand that. Rufus says, how do you feel about enemies like Reichel coming back? At first I was like, kind of reusing old content, but now I'm like, okay, I get it. They left Northrend to follow a different path, fair enough. And, Wrath of the Lich King nostalgia card is being used right now. I can understand that they're kind of using nostalgia, but we didn't get to see too much of the society of the Reichel because they were just servants of the Lich King, just generic enemies. This kind of seems like they might kind of be neutral, and they're just kind of like, prove your strength, you know? As opposed to just being like, we want to kill you all. So that might be interesting. Mad Tavish says, Rufus says, they're just playing on old expansions for nostalgia to bring back a lot of players from that era. Of course they are. They do that almost every expansion. They did the same thing with WoD and bringing back the classic characters. Right, of course they did. Mad Tavish says, I'm a bad person for wishing this, but I want to see all of these hyped people's faces when Legion turns out to be just as bare bones as WoD was. That does make you a bad person. I want this game to be good. Warlords of Draenor, this is the thing. Warlords of Draenor is a good game, right? Baseline, it is a good game. The problem is that Warlords of Draenor... The problem is that World of Warcraft in general is a great game. So when it went from being a great game to just a good game, people got annoyed. Understandably, right? I'm not blaming them. it made a lot of mistakes. And I really hope that they can win back a lot of the faith that was lost in them with this expansion. If this expansion turns out to be as bare bones as what is, although I argue that Warlords of Draenor has more in it than people argue, but it still needs more. Absolutely. If it turns out to be like Warlords of Draenor in that regard, World of Warcraft is going to be in serious trouble. So, yeah. Okay. Mad Tavish says also big thing. Look at that feature trailer, the honor system portion. Looks like new combat animations. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. That I like the idea of that. Let's see what else. 80 says Sylvanas got her midriff covered in her new model. Suddenly no more Sylvanas cosplays at BlizzCon. Yeah. Healy predicts that Sylvanas will be the next Lich Queen. Maybe. Rufus says, I'm actually quite hyped for this expansion. Sure, it's super early, but I'm a serial leveler, so I'm excited to try a new class. Okay. Yes, Mad Tavish says, I guess Sylvanas learned that a steel bikini doesn't protect you from a shotgun blast. No, it doesn't. Alright, let's get back to dungeons. So, Blackrock Hold. This is it was constructed by the elves back when this place was all nice and new and shiny, to kind of, it was stand as a bulwark against the Legion. So that just looks cool, just in general. Let's get a shot of that one. It's here somewhere. It's got a very distinct look. It's here somewhere. I'll find it. Maybe I won't, because they didn't include everything from all the panels. I am disappointed. MMO Champion, do your job better. Oh, here they are. Is this? Yes, here we go. This is Blackrock Hold. It actually reminds me of a Dark Elf construction from, like, Warhammer. Kind of Warhammer Fantasy. And I like that. I think it looks awesome. Hope to see more of that kind of stuff going on. So yeah, that just looks like a cool dungeon. It's going to be a max level dungeon. And looks cool. That's basically all we know about it. Vault of the Wardens is next. This is a big one. This is where the Demon Hunters will awaken during the class experience, the hero class experience. This was like the Warden maximum security prison facility to hold all of the threats to the world. All kinds of stuff, including Demon Hunters and other terrifying monsters, as the lads at Gamescom said. And this is where Gul'dan found Illidan. So this is where the little cinematic... By the way, that CGI cinematic is not the final cinematic for the expansion. It's just a teaser, right? It's not even a teaser. It's just like... It's a cool thing that they made, essentially. It's not going to replace anything. So before you say it's really short, don't worry about it. This is where you begin the hunt for Illidan and Gul'dan. So that's pretty cool. So that's Vault of the Wardens. Looks like cool stuff. I hope it's not Violet Hold Point 2, because I am so tired of waves. But I hope we can explore it. That should be cool. And again, that would be a cool place to have multiple paths. Next up, next up, Eye of Azshara is located in Azuna, which is another zone. This is where you will contend with the minions of Queen Azshara and the Naga. By the way, I like the fact that they called it Eye of Azshara. Interesting to see what's going to happen there, because a lot of people assume that Queen Azshara would be like a boss, like an expansion raid boss, not the end of a dungeon boss. So it does only say minions, so we might not actually see Azshara there. Yes, Mad Tavish says, the War of the Ancients and Stormrage lore is pretty rad, which is cool. They did also mention this. This Legion invasion is larger than the War of the Ancients. If you know the War of the Ancients, that means this Legion invasion, goodness me, is pretty damn big. That should be cool. I hope they really do the scale right. There's a great shot. I don't need this anymore. There's a great shot during the trailer of... let me find it. Where is it? Here it is. Of this. This looks amazing. Like, if this is in the game and not just like a trailer, or like a little cinematic that plays, yes, please. I mean, just look at all those Felguards. Like, if they can pull off that kind of scale, that would be fantastic. Just nothing short of fantastic. So, yes. Mad Tavish. Actually, I don't know why Metzen wasn't on stage at Gamescom. Maybe he just wasn't there. I don't know. It did take place in Germany. So maybe his schedule just didn't let him attend. I don't know. Rufus says, that's something to touch on. A lot of this expansion appears to be not another Orc expansion. I can understand that. They definitely want to take it in a new direction. Orcs are very tied to the Burning Legion. Very much tied into, how they did things. They were kind of like agents for the Burning Legion without meaning to be. Lots of redemption stories there, but I think this is much more just pure demons, which is good. That's good. And yeah, that's why Metsun wasn't on stage. No orcs, says Mad Tavish. Mad Tavish says, I'm still hesitant of giving Blizzard $60 every year, especially after Warlords of Draenor. I can understand that. Maybe it would be nice if they reduced the price a tiny bit, if for a while or something, or for some kind of bonus for veterans, something like that. But yeah. He says everyone's making demon hunters. Rest in peace, rogues and monks. Maybe, yeah. Although I want to see what they add to the classes before I make a decision on that. Safe Grimmel says WoW was and still is awesome value when you think about it. I agree with that. I need new music, by the way. I'm going to add some more music to the playlist. What kind of music do you want? Why don't we listen to some Karazhan music? I'm just going to put on a whole bunch of Karazhan music. Let's do that. There we go. Alright, so hopefully this won't be too loud. Yeah, Karazhan music's good. Okay, so I agree. Safe Grimmel is right when he says that WoW is good value for money. I mean, think about how much you spend playing WoW. Even when it has all these problems, most people still play WoW. And it keeps them occupied, it keeps them entertained to some degree, depending on what you do. So I think it's still good value for money. Although it could be better. Definitely could be better. It's still good value for money, though. And Mitch is right when he says, Blizzard have never buggered up a cinematic. Ever. You're right. They have never buggered up a cinematic. And it's also important to note when it comes to the subscription fee, you can pay it with gold now if you make a lot of gold, which is cool. Rufus says, I think the first few weeks and months will see a lot of Demon Hunters, but if starting a new character every expansion has taught me anything, it's that there are a lot of people who could care less about new classes and races and will just power on through the new content because that's what appeals to them. I agree, Rufus. There's going to be a lot of people who are just going to stick with their classes. I'm going to stick with my Elemental Shaman because Elemental Shaman, hell yes. By the way, everyone who keeps saying Elemental Shaman don't do any DPS, get yourself in some decent gear, get your 4-piece, and then tell me you don't do decent DPS. Because I'm starting to be really competitive now that I've got my 4-piece. Took a while to get that 4-piece, though. Anyway, yes, a lot of... I imagine that there'll be a flare. Of course there will be a flare. Of course, in both in subscribers and in Demon Hunters. And then there's always flavor of the month people. Of course there are. I'm going to try the Demon Hunter. Hell yes, they look awesome. But yeah. To raid, no. Also, my raid team, my guild is tripping over themselves. Like, all the melee DPS are like, I want to be the Demon Hunter. No, I want to be the Demon Hunter. No, let me be the Demon Hunter. I play a rogue, so there's going to be a lot like how the Demon Hunter plays, so I should get to be the Demon Hunter. It's hilarious. I'm just sitting back with popcorn like, I'm an Elemental Shaman. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to watch you all kill each other to get the spot as Demon Hunter. So that's good. He says, anyone raiding in a mythic-minded progression guild, you would main the character you did before with your Demon Hunter. Yeah, absolutely. Healy is actually 8 out of 13 mythic. Nice. I think I'm 4 out of 13 mythic. I won't give up my rogue that easily just because a new class is coming out. Absolutely. You've built a lot of loyalty to your character. Even if you're an older role player, even if you don't really care about the story, it's still your character. You work on it yourself. You have to throw all of that away if you want to main something else. At least to some degree. Athey says, I like how they use previously known lore once more, when they stopped doing that after Wrath, the game's sub-numbers have been declining, hopefully proving to Blizz how important narrative is to the world of Warcraft. Yes, I'm glad that they are pushing new lore now. I'm not entirely sure why Warlords of Draenor existed. Maybe it's like a primer for Legion, just jumping straight into Legion after Mr. Pandaria. That would have been a massive, massive jump. So maybe it does make sense as kind of a linking expansion. But yeah. Rufus says, I agree with the value statement. I can't think of another game that has given me so many years of entertainment. Exactly. That's something you've got to remember. But you've also got to remember that World of Warcraft is going to die eventually. It is a dying game. Absolutely. Yeah. It is a dying game, unfortunately, but it's still got lots of life left in it. Rufus says, Tuskeh, would you mind if I posted a link to Icy Veins? It's a Legion interview with Tom Chilton and Ian Hazacostas. I would not mind, however, I do not know how to turn off that setting. So just tweet it at me. I'm at Tuskeh, so feel free to tweet it at me and I'll get it up on here. We can talk about that. He says, put it this way: buying the expansion and $15 a month, you have spent $105 to date. To have the diva come out and say we have gave up on the expansion before it comes out. Nah, I just get Amazeballs DPS. I don't know what you just said. Sorry. You see, if you link it there, to me it says deleted link. I don't know how to change that, and I don't want to mess with the settings when we're this far into the discussion. So feel free to just tweet it at me, and I'll get that up here. I could probably actually just go to Icy Veins, and find it. It's probably right there. Interview with Tom Chilton, right here. So let's have a look at this, shall we? Okay, let's. Okay, you just tweeted it to me as well. Okay. Oh, you say devs. Okay, yeah. To have the devs come out and say we have given up on the expansion before it comes out. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. So let's see some of these new stuffs. But before we do that, let's just quickly finish these damn dungeons. Damn it, Doug. Damn it, guys. You're distracting me. All right, so we've got Dark Heart Thicket. It's all going to be about... I'm going to rush through these. It's going to be about Xavius, the first satyr, I believe he is. The Emerald Dream. We're going to go into the Emerald Dream. That's also going to be a raid. Fantastic. And rescue Malfurion from all that stuff. It's going to be cool. Neltharion's Lair is going to be a raid. It's going to be located in High Mountain, one of the highest places on the Broken Isles. The cavern where Neltharion lived before he became Deathwing. Sweet. The Center of Society for Rocky Warriors of High Mountain should be kind of cool. And there'll be a Pillar of Creation in there we're after. Helheim is like, it's going to be another Vrykul-themed instance, the polar opposite of the Halls of Valor. So it's going to be about hell, it's going to be about cursed spirits. A lot of it is going to be on a ghost ship, sailing through stormy seas, they mentioned. So if you like the Grimmail Depot, not in terms of mechanics, but in terms of theme, then you should like Helheim. It's going to be very unique, apparently. Suramar City, we mentioned this, it's going to be City of the Night. It's going to be catacombs in royal houses, things like that. Violet Hold is going to be a new one. I hope it's not the same. Please, the love of God, make it deeper. And apparently we're going to learn more about the origins of the world itself in there, which is going to be interesting. The raid structure in Waters of Draenor worked out well, apparently. I don't know about that. I didn't like the gap. I didn't like there only being 2 tiers. I prefer 3. But anyway, it will use the same structure as used in Legion. The Emerald Nightmare will be the first raid. And it will just go straight in. We'll battle up a World Tree, and then we'll go into the Emerald Dream, which should be awesome. I cannot wait to do that. And then Suramar Palace will be a Grand Magistrix runs a city of like ancient elves, reminiscent of the Black Temple, and Gul'dan cannot run away this time. We will kill him, which is good. Okay, fantastic. Apparently Xavius has died like 3 times in lore already. Don't think he cares anymore at this point. I don't know. Is he technically a demon? Can he die if he's not in the Twisting Nether? I don't know. All right, so let's have a look at some of these clarifications. So, Demon Hunter. As it stands, Demon Hunters are slated to wear leather armor. That makes sense. The developers used to feel that having too many classes on one armor type could cause problems, but as the game has moved towards personal loot, this has become less of an issue. Understand that. Healy says we're going back to a 4-patch expansion, I hope. I hope that as well. I think Warlords of Draenor could have had more life in it, personally, but, you know. Okay, so all new weapon type glaives will be the only weapon type the Demon Hunters can use. Interesting. There will be a weapon pair that comes together and fill both hand slots. That's pretty cool. Having only one available weapon type for the class will not be an issue, as you mostly focus on your artifact throughout this expansion. In the future, Demon Hunters might eventually dual wield with standard agility weapon types. Okay. Demon Hunter starting level has not been set, but starting level between 95 to 100 is currently being debated. It's hard to imagine a level 1 Demon Hunter running around Elwyn Forest. Exactly, especially with the lore behind it all. Artifacts, you obtain your artifact early on. Good. This is a weapon you will use throughout the expansion. You will not get weapon drops in Legion. Something that wasn't mentioned during the reveal is that each artifact has a number of relic slots, which will determine its raw item stats, DPS, item level, etc., and modifiers to the traits you've chosen, so the artifact stats will still improve as you defeat bosses. That's cool. Chat, by the way, right now is discussing Xavius and how he keeps coming back. Okay. It will be very important to see how the story plays out regarding artifacts that come from characters like Tyrion. No spoilers. Existing legendary weapons and items are unchanged. Artifacts will be presented differently. There will not be any legendary weapons in Legion. Good. I don't want a legendary questline, personally. Update, artifacts can still be transmogged into other items. Huzzah! That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. That's just what I talked about. Great. Other items cannot be transmogrified into artifacts, which makes sense. Okay. Weapon loot seems like it's no longer a thing, at least for this next expansion, which I'm personally happy about, because the problem, if you don't know about this, weapon DPS and the strength of your weapon, really, for a lot of melee classes, well, every melee class, essentially, is what determined how strong you were in a raid. So if your weapon only dropped from, like, the end boss, like it does for a lot of people, then you kind of sucked until you got it, which is a shame. Alright, so, story. This is the main universe, Illidan, no alternative universe. Good. Gul'dan was banished through the Twisting Nether into our world, into our time today. The scene where Gul'dan discovered and awoke Illidan is part of the Demon Hunter experience and why the Legion is at this place. They came specifically for Illidan. Maiev was out at the pub, apparently. Interesting. Why do they want Illidan? The only time you spend inside the Emerald Nightmare is in the Raid Zone. Its influence will be felt outside, but only the Raid Zone takes place inside the Nightmare. The Emerald Dream/Nightmare might be expanded out further in the future. Okay, that's fine. Mr. Pandara's story saw the Horde expelled from Dalaran, but with Khadgar as the leader of the Kirin Tor, he has worked with the Horde and feels responsible for Gul'dan, and he wants help from both sides. Fine. I asked if Rathian was back, and he foretold the coming of the Legion. We'll see. Interesting. Well, Illidan did betray them, but why would they want revenge on Illidan when they want to just destroy the world? That doesn't make much sense to me. And Mad Tavish says that, so I don't know. All for the abs, says Safe Grimmel. Absolutely, those abs. As a gay man, I have to say, actually, Illidan isn't all that sexy. Not really, sorry. I mean, the demon horns and wings kind of destroy it for me. Although I do know several people who would be all over him, so maybe I'm just weird. By using his body as a puppet for Archimon's soul, says Mad Tavish. Maybe, we don't know. Maybe indeed. Karazhan's brief appearance in the cinematic teaser was important. Karazhan is an important place. I like Karazhan. It might be interesting. Dalaran is more or less lifted from Wrath of the Lich King and will be a neutral capital city for both factions. For gameplay purposes, it will still also be in Northrend. It won't be moved the way it was for Wrath. Some things will have changed. Good. I hope they at least update it. You know, just to make it look shinier. I don't want it to be copy and paste. Regarding the new Violet Hold and other Dalaran changes, the devs note that Dalaran has some ancient purposes that weren't fully understood, and it is affected by being brought this close to the Tomb of Sargeras. Interesting. Interesting, okay. Nothing massive too far. Expansion features gameplay. Classes will evolve in a number of ways. The development team is looking closely at the core fantasy for each class. Talent changes and class changes are being made. Stay tuned. Good. I hope they overhaul Elemental. I really do. And Mad Tavish says, please keep Citizens of Dalaran. No. The PvP talent system. We haven't talked about PvP yet. Let's talk about PvP. I know very little about it, but let's talk about PvP. Where is the PvP in this? I need to talk about it. I need to, because they've revamped the honor system. It's going to be big. So the original honor system was fine in theory. Unfortunately, many people couldn't keep up, and some would account share just to keep up. The honor system that uses currency is better, but it doesn't entirely work. So the new system is kind of a talent tree. So as you PvP, you level up and you get access to talents. And I accidentally opened up the talent examples for you at one point here. So here they are. Here is the talent system. So here's a few examples of some stuff. So you've got Abolish Magic for Discipline Priest. So it dispels all magic every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, which replaces Dispel Magic. Bloodlust for Shaman now has a 4 to 5 second cooldown, but only affects you and your friendly target when cast. So all kinds of interesting things like that. And of course, Necrotic Strike for Death Knights making a return. And this is the kind of the talent tree right here. So you level up, and you can level up to 50, and you unlock all these different things. Also, this looks to be a Shaman tree, which looks really interesting. Flame Tongue Totem, Landslide, Thunder Shield, Lava Eruption, Sky Fury Totem, Wind Fury Totem. Damn. Exciting stuff. But there's all this stuff here. Yes, Rufus says, hit things very hard and don't die. Basically, yeah. Basically. So you've got all this stuff here, and it does seem very interesting. So you level up as you go through, and once you get to 50, you have access to everything. And then you can press a Prestige button, which, let me see if I can find this Prestige button. And here we go. And Prestige, here we go. So you can, it works like Call of Duty or Diablo. I don't know, actually, I don't think Diablo works like this, but it works like Call of Duty. You press rank up, you get the warning, and then you go back to level 1, and you get a Prestige rank. And Prestige ranks give you cosmetic stuff, like maybe transmog weapons, they have this new mount kind of ideas like this, and also this other idea here is a portrait badge. So this is like the default, you have PvP on when someone targets you thing. Then you've got like this cool looking thing, and then kind of cooler, and then badass, things like that. Kind of very cosmetic stuff. And Mad Tavish actually has a very good question here. The Gladiator's Medallion is actually a talent here, which is interesting. And he says, will the Gladiator's Medallion still be an actual trinket, or will it be an ability or talent? Because that could fix every man for himself, which is the human talent that makes them ridiculous in PvP, because it's basically a free trinket. I don't know. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Because it's shown being the first unlock when they show the honor system. Depends. I don't know. That's a very interesting thought, isn't it? But yeah, this honor system looks cool. It does seem like it seems like it could have a lot of different ways to incentivize doing things. And it's a good way to kind of split PvE and PvP, which is something I think that Blizzard should have done for a while, especially since Guild Wars 2 did it very well, where you just basically had your own spec in Guild Wars 2, and everything was stat related, and it all kind of changed when you went into a PvP place. So I like that they're kind of moving in that direction, which is good. That's good. I can't really talk about PvP too much, but I think it's good. I hope the system works, and it should make all kinds of builds and interesting things available, and it should hopefully make Elemental a bit more interesting. So that's good. Let's go back to the gameplay stuff, shall we? I'm just going to have another look at the chat. Problem with everything right now is it's all subject to change, says Rufus. Yes, absolutely. That's a big thing to point out, is everything can be changed. We're not even in alpha yet, so everything can be changed. Okay, so let's have a move on. As an example of class change, the Survival Hunter's Spear artifact was brought up. In Legion, Survival Hunters will be a melee spec that utilizes as pet. Damn! To differentiate specs, the developers will try to de-homogenize the classes. Further to this, Beast Mastery Hunters will fight at range with a pet, while Marksman Hunters will fight at range with no pet. That's cool. I have to admit, that's cool. Melee Hunter might finally be a thing. Damn, they're gonna have to really overhaul the Hunter if they want to do that. Wow. Demonology Warlocks will be masters of summoning and controlling demons. Metamorphosis sort of came to dominate the class, but the devs are refocusing the spec on demons. I can understand they want to go away from Metamorphosis, because that's a Demon Hunter thing now. Affliction will continue to be about decay, and Destruction will be about bursts of Fellfire. No stat squish is planned for Legion. I think that's okay. Health numbers are fairly high, but that is because health was intentionally increased to manage the feel and flow of healing. DPS is still easily an expansion away from the numbers players were seeing in Siege of Orgrimmar. Yes. Cogspin231 says, Hi, Tuskeh. Hello, Cogspin. Welcome to tea time. We've been talking for a while now. We probably won't have too much more talking, but we're going through some of the stuff, and this will all go up on YouTube as well. So, hello. Hope you're doing well. Yes. Athey says, Raptor Strike. My old friend. Raptor Strike might return. That might be cool. Okay. Professions are getting a lot of new stuff. The profession teams for Legion is the largest that Blizzard has ever had for WoW, and they clearly had the feedback that professions were underutilized in Warlords and overlapped with the garrisons too much. Good. I have no arguments with that. Realm Firsts are not coming back. Good. I don't like Realm Firsts. There's no point in rushing. There isn't. There just isn't. Unless your guild is like, get to max level really fast. Although you could just do what me and my husband do and just like take a week off. He's already penciled in, like, he's got a week ready to take off next year for when the expansion launches. It will be next year. I would be stunned if they launch it this year. Nelia says, hey, still here. Hey, welcome back. When you came back, hello. You should have said hi. I'm glad you're saying hi. Okay, so, Realm First not coming back. There was a value in some. Ian mentioned things like the first players to beat Brawlers Guild, Mythic Guild first, etc. But the general philosophy is to allow players to take their time and enjoy the content at their own pace. Plenty of third parties actively track first to 100, etc. Things like that. Update. Other Warlock specs will not be losing access to demon pets. All 3 Warlock specs will still utilize demons. Okay, good. That seems fine to me. I have no arguments there. Survival Hunter thing looks cool as hell. Miscellaneous stuff. Garrisons are staying in Draenor. If you want to go back and visit them, you can. They were always designed as something that you would leave in Draenor. The developers may revisit the system with something bigger, better, and different in the future. Quarter 1 2016 if beta this year. I agree with that, Healer. That's what Healer says. He predicts Quarter 1 2016. That's what I would say. Order halls are very different from garrisons. They are a shared multiplayer space. They just happen to be the place you'll go to send your champions on missions. We didn't even talk about champions. Champions are like followers only awesome. So they're not like, they don't compete with you. You send them on missions and then you get involved. So like the example they gave was you send a champion off. They might be someone like Lady Liadrin. You'll send them off. So they're big lore characters. You'll send them off to like say a cave. They'll to a zone, and then maybe they'll give you a buff while you're in that zone, or they'll like point out something that you can go and investigate yourself, rather than going off and being like, "Hey, I got a piece of raid gear for you." So that should be different. A release date is not yet set. The full cinematic is being actively worked on, but it isn't quite complete yet. I imagine we'll see it at BlizzCon. We'll see a lot of stuff at BlizzCon. Loads of details, I imagine, then. For new players who feel intimidated by the size and scope of the game, the developers feel that the character boost helps get people to playing with their friends faster. Alright, okay, so that's pretty good. I have to say, I'm pretty excited. Athiel says, how do you think the PvE/PvP split will affect PvE balance? Do you think all DPS specs will become viable and roughly equal in terms of numbers? No, I don't, because that has never been the case. There are too many classes and too many specs for it to be perfectly balanced, especially with all these different mechanics going on. Some classes, I still think they're close, right? I don't think they are amazingly balanced, but they are close, right? So, for instance, as an Elemental Shaman, once I start gearing up, I can be very competitive, right? But as I'm gearing up, I'm a bit weak. That could need looking at, but generally that's been the way the Shaman has always been. Like, at the beginning of the expansion and mid-expansion, you're kind of weak. You do okay, and then the end of the expansion, you start getting really good gear, and you just go crazy, and you do really well. That's kind of what I'm feeling so far, especially, you know, when I see myself on the damage meters as like 2nd or 3rd or 4th. I feel like I've actually earned that because I'm in a guild of players that are really damn good. So when I'm there, I know it's because I did well, not because everyone else did badly. So I think that there's still room for improvement, but I think that the PvP-PvE split won't affect PvE balance. I still think that, because they actually mentioned that the PvP kind of talent tree is something the PvP developers have wanted to work on for a while, so I don't imagine it's going to take away from PvE. Rufus says, one thing I noticed during the event was that there was a Paladin Forge where Paladins can customize their weapons, so order halls will be tied closer to artifacts. Absolutely, they've said that. You will go to your order hall to upgrade your artifact weapon, and you'll probably do a lot of class quests there as well. And by the way, we'll probably see class quests again. That's awesome. Cogspin says, one thing I'm incredibly excited for is the Doom Hammer. Can't wait for that. I know, I'm so jealous of our enhancement shaman. He's going to get the Doom Hammer, and you'll get like a spectral version in your offhand, so you don't have to have some other ugly weapon. Damn it, I'm so jealous of him. Damn it. But hopefully the elemental one will be good. Mitch says, do you think our garrisons will still be active when Legion launches? Like, could we go back and keep sending our followers out to get us BRF transbog items? That's a good point. I imagine we probably will. That might be a good idea. I like that. I like that idea, actually. Maybe you could choose, like, what kind of item you want, and, like, you'll have a higher chance to get that one. That sounds like cool. I like that idea, Mitch. Although I don't want garrisons to remain a thing, really. I want an expansion without them. I really do. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait to be around in the world again. Rufus says, yeah, okay. Atheist says, Demon Hunters will probably start at 100. Yeah. Healy says, that's how Windwalker Monk is, Tuskeh. They are garbage until they get 4-piece and Soul Capacitor. Speaking of which, screw Soul Capacitor. That trinket is so damn strong. But, yeah. A lot of classes are like that. I also hear that Mistweaver Monks are a bit weak until they get their 4-piece as well. So, I'm not a big fan of the class design requiring tier bonuses to make them strong. I think they should just be strong, and tier bonuses should just be cool, as opposed to being, like, required to do well. Because this is actually an interesting point. Think about this. Every Elemental Shaman tier bonus in Warlords of Draenor, every one has been about Earthshock and Fulmination. Every single one. That kind of suggests that those mechanics need to be looked at, don't they? Larry the One says, whoa, you're streaming! I know. Hello, Larry the One. We're nearly done, but I will definitely do this more. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm here. Hello. Hello. I hope everything's going well. Nelly says, I'm curious about heirloom stuff too. That will be interesting to see what happens with heirlooms. I imagine they'll just go up to 110 and you can probably spend more gold. Maybe it would be nice to see you can spend things other than gold on heirlooms, but that's just me. Mad Tavish says, don't worry, Tuskeh. You'll carry the staff of Drekthar or Ner'zhul. Does Drekthar have a... Drekthar doesn't have a staff. He has axes, I think. Ner'zhul's staff would be cool. I want a fragment of the world pillar. That's what I want. I want to go to Deepholm and, like, find the pillar that's holding up all the elemental planes and be like, chip! And then this is my weapon, and then you put it in like a staff and it's super powerful. That would be cool. Rufus says, are you preparing for your Demon Hunter? I've already got some bags prepared and getting enchants ready too. Damn! Damn, you people are insane! It's not even alpha yet, calm down! Naylor says, I'm playing all tanks, so I'll play the Demon Hunter tank too. This is something that my husband's very unhappy about. I asked him, will you play Demon Hunter? And he says, no. I said, can you at least do the starting experience? No. I'm like, come on, please, do the starting experience. No. I don't like elves. I think I managed to convince him into a compromise. We can do it together at some point. But he says only night elves, because he hates blood elves. That is obviously a big downside, but at least they're sticking to the lore of the Demon Hunters. And he does not like that they are a new tank. No, he does not like that in the slightest. I can imagine a lot of tanks feel the same way, because there are a lot of tank mechanics that already overlap. And if the Demon Hunter ends up being like a tank that's really, really, really good, then it's like, why do you bring the other tanks? Blizzard have got to be careful to avoid that. Rufus says, yep, I recently got into tanking, so I'm curious to see how the Demon Hunter tank plays. Yeah, they have to have something unique, something that the other tanks... that doesn't take away from the other tanks. Much like Discipline Priests take away from other healers by the better a Discipline Priest gets, the worse the other healers get because of the absorbs. Mad Tarish is gay and hates Blood Elves. I know, it's almost like human beings are complicated. Yeah. Atheist says, I was considering rolling a Demon Hunter, but once they said I was getting Ashbringer, that went out the window. Ret forever. There you go. They love their Paladins, don't they? Blizzard really love their Paladins, which is cool. Larry, the one, says, I wonder if it will be a mobile tank. That would be kind of cool. I honestly don't know how they'll do it. I mean, Demon Hunter obviously is a melee class, but, I mean, they have a lot of mobility. I'm genuinely interested to see, like, how they can do things, because one of their abilities is like a leap backwards. Actually, do I still have it open? I have a lot of panels open right now. No, it looks like I don't. Oh well, not too much of a big deal. Let me find it here. Because one of the abilities that they displayed was an ability to like vault backwards and avoid the next attack. So I imagine they'll be doing a lot of jumping around. Imagine what that will do to like tanking and keeping enemies in place. Where is this damn thing? It's here somewhere. I've just got to read. It's here somewhere. It's called like Vengeful Retreat, I believe it's called. Here's one. This is probably... Yeah, that's that. Oh, God damn, I'm so bad at this. It's here somewhere. I had it open. That's what sucked. I had it open. Oh well, you can just take my word for it. Oh no, wait! I found it. Here we go. Vengeful Retreat. Vault back and avoid the next attack or spell directed at you. That might be interesting. That might be like a way of active mitigation. Okay, so there we go. Let's move on before I screw it up again. Rufus says, that was one thing that surprised me, a brand new class that is restricted to one race per faction. That is kind of crazy, I would have to agree, although it's all about the hero class lore, right? It's not like, here's a bunch of Demon Hunters, here you go. These were Illidari, like you are a member of the Illidari. You were basically a trash mob in the Black Temple, right? So when you start the experience, you go back in time to around that time, and Illidan himself will give you a mission. So you're like an established lore character. You're not like, I can just do anything. You're not just some random nobody, right? So that's why it's only those two races. Because those were the only two races that were members of the Illidari, so, and were Demon Hunters anyway. Mad Tower says, mobile tank, let you play it with your smartphone? I like that. Yeah, loves Pallies, hates Shamis. Healy says, just as long as it doesn't have some of the wonky dog reduction like monks. I don't know what that means. I do like the idea of high skill cap tanks, though. I do definitely like that. Rufus says, I'm curious how metamorphosis will work. If it will be similar to Demonology Warlocks, you build up to a certain amount of fury, then spend it all in demon form. I don't know. I really don't know. Will it be a cooldown? Will it be something permanent? Will it be like a form that you switch in between? I like the idea of switching into the form, doing some things, and switching out of it whenever you want. That might add a good level of skill to it. Cogspin says, I'm crazy excited for artifact weapons. I made enhance, and when I heard I get the Doom Hammer, I went crazy. So excited. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Artifact weapons seem like a really great alternative to the legendary questline, and if they're really shaking up the lore as much as they say they're going to, then it makes sense that we're going to be wielding all these great weapons. Yeah, Mad Tarish says, I can't wait for all those Demon Hunter tanks screwing over their melee DPS by moving the boss around. That's a very interesting point. How will bosses react when you got the boss here, he's like, rah, you got the Demon Hunter here, and then the Demon Hunter's like, whew. The boss will effectively just be like, wee, and then all the melee DPS are left in the dirt. Can you imagine how that would work in a raid when you've got to, like, keep a boss still? That might make Demon Hunters a bit weaker. We don't know. We'll have to see how that works. Healy says, I'm sort of excited for the rogue weapons, going to dust off my Fangs of the Father. That's a good point. I mean, you made your own legendary weapon. I wonder how that will work. Maybe you'll go back and do stuff with that. That might be interesting. Athey says, Demon Hunter tanks better not get Vengeful Retreat. Going to be the bane of all melee if the tank is going to be vaulting backwards all the time, kiting the boss around. Yeah, although I will say, it does have a 24-second cooldown, so they won't be doing it. They won't be spamming it, at least. They might be doing it quite often, though. Corkspin says, although I'm thinking of rerolling classes because I'm feeling a bit bored of my shaman, but I'm so attached to my character, thinking of ignoring him sounds bad. This is a good point, Corkspin. A lot of people have built big loyalties to their characters now, and they're going to need cool new things beyond just the artifact weapons. Hopefully, I hope they add a new talent and a new spell, or maybe the new enhancements like we saw in Warlords of Draenor. I wasn't super excited about the enhancements we got as we leveled up in Warlords of Draenor. So if they add that again, along with the artifact weapon abilities and like the way they change your abilities, and a new talent tree, a new talent tier even, that sounds okay to me. Healy says damage reduction. Sorry, autocorrect is killing me. Okay, no worries, Healy. It's okay. Rufus says maybe it's like the Worgen form. Out of combat, you're in normal humanoid form, and in combat, you take on demon form. But we've seen combat gameplay, and they were in human form. Who has a time machine? I must find out now. Yeah, I don't know. Considering we saw them in combat in their elf human forms, I doubt it, but it would be cool if it was a toggle, as opposed to, like, something you're only in every now and then. Because it would be cool to just hang out in demon form, like, yo, I'm in Dalaran. I'm a demon hunter. What's up? Yeah, but, Safe Grimmel says, it makes sense thematically, as in these situations you won't exchange a weapon every 5 minutes. Exactly, that's going to be very good. I'm glad I won't be changing my weapon all the time. Get that cool weapon, maybe transmog it if I want to, and then just stick with it, you know? Will be interesting to see what happens with artifact weapons in the next expansion, though. The one after Legion, so. I don't know. Rufus says, it'd be cool if rogues got to rob a weapon vault for their artifact weapon. Yeah, you know, like, this is a good point. We're forgetting that a lot of the stuff we're going to see is going to be class intensive, so you'll have class mechanics that like move into gameplay. I'm sure you'll be doing for the Demon Hunter stuff, you'll be doing double jumps everywhere. For the like the Shaman, you'll probably be communing with the earth. You'll probably be forced to use your healing spells as a DPS or your damage spells as a healer. Just things like that. I just think that'll be really cool. By the way, I wonder what Restoration Shaman will get. No idea. But yeah, there's going to be all kinds of unique stuff. It's going to be very thematic. There's going to be a lot of class fantasy in this next expansion. They've mentioned that over and over again. They want to build the class fantasy. And in my opinion, if they want to really build that, class orders is great, artifact weapons is great. Both of those really great ways to get the kind of the class fantasy going. They're going to need a new tier of talents will be really good, really helpful. New enhancements, a few overhauls would be great. And definitely, I want to see new animations for mechanics. For like Thunderstorm, I want my Thunderstorm spell to be a bolt of lightning like Thrall does, not like the little circle. It should be like a big bolt of lightning that hits me and like explodes outwards. That would be cool. Whereas right now it's just like, you know. Mitch says, will you still have to go for offhands and shields, or those included as part of your artifact? They are included as part of your artifact. So, for instance, the Protection Warrior will be going to Neltharion's lair, Deathwing's lair, to find scales of his, and they will forge a shield and a sword out of them. Like, you'll get both. The Death Knight weapons that you reforge with Frostmourne, you won't be getting Frostmourne, you'll be reforging the shards of Frostmourne into a weapon as a Frost Death Knight. You will get two weapons. The Doomhammer will have a spectral offhand. You're like, this is entirely everything. You don't need to worry about your weapons in the slightest, as far as I'm aware. So, it seems like there'll be that you'll get everything in terms of weapons from your artifacts. Athey says, I wonder what happens to your artifact weapons when you switch to your off-spec. Will you get to start your entire questline over again to get the weapon for another spec? Will the artifact simply turn into another spec's artifact items? I had a chat with this with my guild last night while we were clearing trash in the raid, but we basically came to the conclusion that it would be cool if you had to do the lore quest line to get the item, but other than that, you have to like when you change specs. Like, I'm a swing class, so I'm going to have to do both. Like the artifact power that you gain, the grinding that you do to make your weapon better, the boss kills and all that stuff. It applies to both, as opposed to only one. So you don't have to do the grind twice. That's what we think. Maybe they won't do that. Maybe it'll be like the Crystallized Fell in the Drops Off Archimon. Once you get your Legendary Ring, it makes it stronger, but you can only do it to one. But you can do it to any of them, regardless of what. Like, you can kill him as a DPSer and improve your tanking or your healing ring. So something like that, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. But I do not think, and this is something that was an opinion in the guild last night that annoyed me, that you'll only get one artifact per class. I think that's insane. With so much talents, so much specialization swapping these days, it'd be insane to only get one artifact. I also think that they will not back away from this, and they will not say at any point, we're only going to do one artifact per class. Sorry, guys. I don't think they're going to do that. They've got enough lore and enough artwork going, I think, that they can build an artifact weapon for each spec. So that's cool. And by the way, you druids will get cool new druid forms. Here they are. So they made this joke that this is what it would look like right now, and then this is what you will look like with your cool artifact weapon, which is amazing, by the way. That looks so cool. Look at that. That's just amazing. All right, so Jacob the Kami. Hello, Jacob the Kami. I haven't seen you before. Says, Tuskeh, I'm very new to WoW. Can you make a suggestion for my first class? I don't want to play Hunter, and I'll be playing a lot of PvE. Well, your first class, if you want one that you can enjoy leveling up as, I would suggest you don't want to play Hunter, which is a very good solo class, I will say this. But if you're not interested in that theme, then Warlock is pretty good. Warlock is pretty good. They've got a lot of good ways to solo things. The Shaman is also... I would obviously recommend the Shaman. The Shaman is a hybrid, so that you can damage your enemies, and you can also heal yourself. So in situations where you get swarmed by enemies, you can you can root them with one spell, and then run away, and then heal yourself up to full health so that you're ready to fight them, and then you can start doing damage to all of them, and you can do all kinds of things like that. So it really is dependent on what you want to play. I would suggest going to the World of Warcraft website, looking at the classes and what they can do, and then just picking the one that you like the look of, because all classes can do their jobs well. There's not really a class that's like, oh, whoever plays this class is dumb, and it just doesn't work. So there's no class like that. So you can play whatever you want. So that's my suggestion. Bit off topic there, but I was asked, so I answered. And Mad Tavish says, Tuskeh, let's be real for a second here. All we want is the friggin' dance studio. I don't want the dance studio. I might be the only person in World of Warcraft that doesn't want the dance studio. I don't see the point of it. So, let's move on. Coxspin says, a lot of people thinking this is the last expansion because of how many big storylines they are dealing with. Your opinion? Here's the thing. There are two possible big bads for World of Warcraft. The Old Gods and Sargeras. It's been pretty heavily hinted at that Sargeras will be involved in this expansion. If we kill him, which I would be surprised at, then maybe. Maybe. But I doubt we will have the Old Gods and Sargeras dealt with in one expansion. I still think, and personally, this is just me, I'm going to say 6 more expansions. Maybe 4. Okay, I'm going to say 4. 4 more expansions. That's what I'll say. That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know. But I would definitely say 4 more expansions. But, I mean, other than that, yeah, I think that they've got more in them. I would be surprised if this were the last expansion. Athie says, all I want is Pepe? I don't know how to say that word. Costumes. Tuskeh with a hammer equals Tusk Hammer. Yeah. That's right, Larry the One. I won't get Doomhammer, though. I'll probably get the Elemental one. Mad Tavish does not like the one on the left here. I don't know. It looks kind of batty to me. Safe Grimmel says, what about the claws of Shavala Tavern? Good point. Will we get different models? No idea. Rufus says, Druids will get the same number of customizations for their forms as other classes will get for their artifact weapons. And it's a very good point. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. So this is an example of the artifact weapon menu. So you've got the Ashbringer, the Purified Ashbringer, the Flaming Ashbringer, the Corrupted Ashbringer, and the Shattered Ashbringer. And it looks like you've got all kinds of different colors here as well. And some of them are locked, some of them are not. So you can kind of earn different colors and things like that. So you can make yourself completely unique. Well, not completely, very unique, which is cool. Very cool. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of customization. Athie says, I like the armor on the one on the left, Cat, but why does it have a bat's head and a saber cat's fangs? Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, it's a bit strange. It does look cool, though. I think it looks cool. Metal claw arms on big cat dude, perhaps. That would be cool, says Safe Grimmel. Yeah. I like the idea of a talent, but it just feels so half-assed, says Rufus. It's okay. You can say what you want here in the language. Larry the One says, look how that description confirms that Magni is coming back. Very good point. Where did I put it? Yeah. Magni Bronzebeard forged the original Ashbringer, and he can forge it anew to make it stronger than ever. Confirmed. Magni returning. Nice. Yeah. Mages have the staff of the first guardian, so that's cool. Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff. So we've really talked about a lot of stuff now, and I don't want to make this remarkably long. We've been talking for at least 2 hours now. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I want to thank all of you for being here and having a good old chat. We definitely need to do this more often. Tea Time with Tuskeh live is much more fun than doing it myself. But what I want to do before we end this is I want to have a look at I want to watch the trailer with you guys. Let's just watch it together and it can be awesome. Yeah, that's how we can end this. So before we do that, I want to thank you all very much for being involved, and I will try and have a little bit more warning coming up, and I might make like a YouTube video that says I'm live, tea time, come join me, stuff like that. But if you want to get alerted, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. That's where I will announce it. And also, if you follow me on Twitch, you'll get announced. It gets announced on your emails when I go live. So yes, prepare yourselves for this this cinematic. I'm gonna turn up my sound a little bit, and we will watch this together. Quality is all good. Turn off annotations because annotations are horrible. And let's watch this together, shall we? I'm just gonna make sure that my okay, it's showing it. Oh, fantastic. Before we end, Aethy says, is this Tea Time live thing an episode of Tea Time being recorded live, or is it entirely separate from the normal Tea Time series? That depends on whether or not it recorded it all. This could entirely be a live thing. We don't know. I hope I can get it onto YouTube, but if not, then this is just for you folks. So let's just watch, shall we, and end this video. And yes, thank you very much for watching and participating, and I love you all unconditionally. And let's watch, and it can be awesome. Hope the sound works. If it doesn't, this might be very short.
On Draenor, old rivals sought to bring Azeroth to its knees. And while the Iron Tide was quelled, they were but servants of a more ancient foe that has not forgotten our defiance. The vengeance of the Burning Shadow has come. And in our most desperate hour, we must wield the power of the enemy against them. For we stand once more upon the brink of destruction. The Burning Legion has returned.
Well, damn. That just happens to be one of the most awesome trailers ever conceived. Yeah. So before I end, I'm going to answer a few questions that you folks want me to answer. So go ahead and ask any questions before we end. And yeah, that could be it. And yes, that Fel Reaver sound, says Mad Tavish. I know, that's awesome. I hope we see revamped Fel Reavers. Mad Tavish also says remove face cam. We're supposed to be watching this together. Damn. Wow. Wow. Was that a revamped Karazhan? Maybe. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. New combat animations? Maybe. It looked like there was a bit more oomph to them. Yes. We will never be slaves was better. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like everything's good. It's going to be exciting. So, I'm just going to end it now. I think I've decided this. I've been talking for a while. Haven't eaten anything yet. I'm going to go away. So, thank you very much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this tea time. And, yeah. I wish you the best of luck in the world of Warcraft.